what if everything we think we know about security, about satisfaction, about, true abundance, what if it's actually upside down?
That's a powerful question to start with.
Right. We live in this world that's constantly pushing us, get more, accumulate more,
Yeah.
and yet it often doesn't feel like enough, does it?
It rarely does, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. This complex, often challenging relationship between wealth, our own desires, and maybe our deeper sense of well-being.
Yeah, that paradox.
Exactly. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to challenge those conventional ideas. We've looked at some profound insights from, well, ancient wisdom, biblical texts, even modern observations.
To give us a fresh perspective.
Right, to give you a fresh perspective on prosperity. And look, this isn't about condemning wealth itself. Not at all.
Right.
It's about understanding its nature, its power, its impact on us, and crucially, how we can navigate it wisely.
Absolutely. And this deep dive is really tailored to help you untangle these powerful forces in your own life. We'll look at the deceptive never enough trap. Then we'll kind of flip our perspective. Look at this seemingly impossible paradox, finding real spiritual richness even in material poverty.
Sounds contradictory, I know.
It does. And finally, we'll tackle that ultimate question. Where does our loyalty, our ultimate allegiance truly lie?
A critical question.
So let's just jump right in, unpack this first idea. Our initial sources, they dive straight into this concept of the insatiability of wealth.
Right.
The idea that the more you get, the more life seems to, demand from you. It's surprising, but it echoes through ancient texts.
It's a really powerful and consistent warning we see throughout the biblical texts. The scriptures are quite clear. Wealth, in itself isn't the inherent problem.
Right. They mention figures like Abraham, Job.
Even Solomon, incredibly wealthy individuals. The real danger, what the Bible consistently flags, is seeing wealth as your ultimate security, your ultimate source of satisfaction.
Okay.
It's the love of money, that dependence on it. That's the trap.
And the evidence for this is pretty compelling, isn't it? I mean, you think of Ecclesiastes 5.10.
Classic.
Cuts right to the chase. Whoever loves money never has enough. Simple as that.
Or that really potent warning in 1 Timothy 6.10.
Oh, yeah.
The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. It causes people to wander from their path.
And even Jesus himself, Luke 12.56, warns us, guard against greed. Life is not about possessions. These aren't just like old sayings. They feel universal.
They really do, and history backs this up so vividly. I mean, take Solomon.
The wisest, richest king.
Arguably, yes.
Yeah.
Palaces, gold, servants, wisdom, he had it all. But what did he confess in Ecclesiastes?
It was all meaningless at chasing after the wind.
Exactly. It didn't ultimately satisfy. And Jesus, well, he drove this point home with that parable of the rich fool, Luke 12.
Right, the guy storing up good.
Yeah, storing up enormous wealth, thinking, okay, my soul is secure now, dies unexpectedly. That very night, leaves everything behind. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? True security isn't found in a bigger barn or a bigger bank account.
So if this insatiability, this sort of treadmill effect, is such an ancient, persistent truth, what does it mean for us living today?
Well, our sources really highlight three core realities that just seem to ripple through time. First, that appetite for more. It's never truly satisfied. It really is like a treadmill.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, wealth inevitably creates its own burdens. The worry, the management hassle, the risks involved, dealing with envy, taxes.
The heirs, maybe.
All of it. It adds complexity. And third, maybe the most crucial point, wealth is fundamentally fleeting.
Fleeting.
Yeah, it can vanish.
Yeah.
Proverbs 23.5 uses that image like an eagle just flying away, gone.
Wow. And we see these same dynamics today, don't we?
Constantly. Think about the salary trap.
Explain that.
Well, you start a job, maybe dreaming of hitting, say, $50,000 a year. You think, that's when I'll be comfortable. But you get there. And suddenly, your lifestyle expands. New car, bigger place. And now $50 doesn't feel like enough. Now you need $75K or $100K. Happiness keeps getting pushed to the next level.
It's always just out of reach.
Always postponed. Then there's the whole consumerism thing, social media pressure.
Oh, definitely. Instagram, TikTok.
Exactly. Luxury items start feeling like basic needs because you see everyone else seemingly having them. Comparison kicks in hard.
Even in business. Right. You think getting bigger means freedom, but
it can become, as one source put it, a prison of responsibilities. Bigger contracts mean bigger liabilities, more staff headaches, more anxiety. The promised freedom turns into something else.
And the family demands the societal expectations.
Oh, yeah. Suddenly you're the successful one, the perceived community ATM. Expectations mount.
It's almost ironic, isn't it? The thing we chase for security or freedom ends up creating its own kind of prison.
It really can.
But how does this actually build up? Our sources talk about little actions and inactions. What does that mean?
Okay, so on the action side, it's things like constant comparison, checking what others have, feeling envious. That's Proverbs 14.3, right? Envy rots the bones. It's lifestyle creep. Every raise automatically means new expenses, rather than, say, increased generosity or savings. And it's that relentless hustle culture.
One more deal.
And then I'll rest. But rest never comes.
And the inactions. What are we not doing?
Those are just as insidious, maybe more so. A lack of practicing gratitude, that breeds restlessness, you know?
If you're not thankful for what you have.
You're always focused on what you don't have. Also, neglecting to actively train ourselves in contentment. It doesn't just happen.
Right. Paul called it a secret he learned.
Exactly. Philippians 4. And ignoring vital rest, Sabbath downtime, that leads to burnout, which deepens that hungry, never enough feeling. These small omissions, they really feed the cycle.
So if wealth itself isn't the problem, but our, allegiance or dependence on it is, how do we actually escape this never enough trap? Is there a way out?
Our sources definitely suggest a clear path. It involves active practices like daily gratitude, intentionally setting generosity goals, not just giving leftovers.
Being deliberate about it.
Very deliberate. And cultivating contentment as a learned discipline like Paul did. And, crucially, always trying to maintain an eternal perspective, remembering you can't take material stuff with you.
Wow. Okay, that's a powerful first section. So the key takeaway here for you listening, it seems wealth multiplies wants.
It really does.
So be intentional, set limits, and remember, true security. It's not in the bank balance. It's somewhere else entirely.
That's the core message.
All right, this next deep dive.
Yeah.
It feels like it completely flips our usual understanding of prosperity, puts it right on its head.
It really does.
It's about the Macedonian Paradox. How extreme poverty, incredibly, led to profound spiritual wealth. It sounds impossible, doesn't it?
It absolutely sounds counterintuitive to our modern ears. The Apostle Paul, writing in 2 Corinthians 8, he holds up these Macedonian churches as like the gold standard of Christian giving. Yeah. But here's the truly fascinating part. Their excellence in giving came from what Paul calls extreme poverty. And the Greek word there, ateia. It's not just poor.
No.
It means utter destitution. Like the kind of poverty that reduces you to begging for scraps. Complete lack.
Wow. That's intense.
It is. Yet, Paul says, from that profound material emptiness, their overflowing joy, combined with their extreme poverty, somehow welled up into this astonishing, rich generosity.
So the generosity wasn't despite the poverty, but somehow because of it.
That's the paradox. It wasn't generosity coming from abundance. It was abundance, spiritual abundance, born of scarcity.
And it wasn't just like normal giving. Paul says they gave beyond their ability.
Yeah, not just what they could afford, but beyond it. And get this, they weren't even asked initially. They urgently pleaded for the privilege to share in this offering for other believers. They begged to give.
That's incredible. It just turns everything upside down.
Completely. And Paul connects it right back to Christ's example in verse 9. Though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that you, through his poverty, might become rich.
It's a divine exchange.
A divine reversal. Think of the widow's mite story, too, in Mark 12.
She gave 2 tiny coins.
Everything she had to live on. And Jesus says she gave more than all the wealthy people who just gave easily out of their surplus. It's a different kind of math, a divine economics.
This is the paradox, isn't it?
In its purest form, yes. Modern financial wisdom is secure yourself first, build your reserves, then give from the overflow. Sensible, right?
Seems logical.
The Macedonians did the exact opposite. They gave the most sacrificially, precisely because they had the least. Traditional logic, more resources, more capacity for giving. The Macedonian Paradox. Fewer resources can actually ignite greater faith.
So financial insecurity becomes dependence on God.
Exactly. And scarcity somehow unlocks this potential for supernatural abundance, at least in the spiritual sense.
Okay, this is radical. How does this principle even look today? Can we see it play out?
I think we can in maybe unexpected ways. Let's imagine Maria. She runs a small food truck, really struggling to make ends meet.
Okay.
But despite that, she decides one day a week she's giving free meals to the homeless in her area. Her competitors think she's nuts, financially foolish.
Right.
But over time, what happens? Maria's truck builds this incredibly loyal following. People hear about what she's doing, customers start paying extra, donating ingredients specifically to support her mission. Her poverty, her willingness to give from it, actually becomes a unique competitive advantage.
Wow, her generosity created value.
In a way, yes. Or think about Sarah, a single mom working minimum wage. She consistently gives, say, $10 a month to her local community center. It's a real stretch for her.
It's a sacrifice.
A definite sacrifice. Then her old car, the one she desperately needs, breaks down completely. What happens? The community center network, the people who know her, who've seen her quiet, consistent generosity despite her struggles, they rally around her. They find her a reliable replacement vehicle.
So her giving built a safety net.
A relational safety net, yeah. One that money alone couldn't necessarily buy. Her sacrificial giving created this reciprocal support.
These aren't huge, flashy things. They're small acts.
Often, yes. They're built on what our sources might call little actions that mirror this principle. We're talking micro-generosities.
Like what?
Like leaving a generous tip for a server when you yourself are counting pennies. Sharing your lunch when it's the only food you brought. Volunteering time at a food bank, even if technically you might qualify for assistance yourself.
Giving when you feel you have nothing to give.
Exactly. Lending a small amount of money you actually need yourself to someone in an even greater crisis. Giving your time, your skills, maybe tutoring for free when you desperately need that time for paid work. These small sacrificial acts, they build a different kind of wealth.
The spiritual wealth.
That's it. And it's built through conscious choices.
Yeah.
Choosing to give first, then figuring out the budget. Choosing to serve someone else's need before your own self-care routine is perfectly optimized.
Choosing trust over control.
Big time. Choosing community collaboration over just competing. Focusing on gratitude for what you can give, however small, instead of grumbling about what you lack. It's a deep spiritual discipline. It reshapes your whole mindset away from scarcity.
So what stops us? What are the inactions that prevent this wealth?
Oh, there are plenty. That common thought. I'll give generously when I have enough.
The when.
Mentality.
Right. It rarely arrives. Or just security first thinking, where belling my emergency fund always trumps meeting someone else's actual emergency right now. Setting percentage limits on giving based only on surplus.
Fear-driven decisions.
Absolutely. Hoarding tendencies, holding on to things just in case while others are suffering right now. Avoiding any generous action that might make us feel a little vulnerable, a little less secure. These choices, these inactions, they keep us locked in a scarcity mindset, even if we objectively have enough.
This raises that question again, though. Isn't this financially irresponsible? What if my own family suffers because I'm giving sacrificially? It's a valid, important concern, and the sources don't advocate recklessness. True stewardship, as they frame it, isn't about being foolish. It's about recognizing that ultimately everything belongs to a higher power or comes from a higher source.
So it's about investing differently.
Investing in eternal returns, not just temporary ones. It requires wisdom, discernment in how and to whom you give, but it's underpinned by trust. Trust that when we act generously, especially from a place of faith, provision will follow. Philippians 4.19 hints at this.
How do you know if it's faithful giving or just foolish?
The indicators seem to be things like, is there joy in the giving, as 2 Corinthians 9 says? Is it leading to spiritual growth in you? Are others genuinely being helped? And do you see evidence, maybe small, of God's provision meeting your needs in return? Those are often the signs.
So the moral here is really stark, isn't it? Spiritual wealth plays by completely different rules.
Totally different principles.
Yeah.
The world says accumulate first, then distribute, maybe. This wisdom says distribution, especially sacrificial distribution, creates spiritual accumulation.
Their physical emptiness became spiritual fullness.
That's the paradox.
Okay, so the key takeaway for you listening from this section. Maybe it's time to redefine wealth. True security, perhaps, comes not from holding on tightly to what you possess, but from generously releasing, especially when it feels like you have little to release. Trusting in something bigger.
It's a challenge. A willingness to embrace what feels like generous insecurity.
Wow. Okay. We've seen the trap of always wanting more. We've seen the paradox of gaining by giving away. Now let's connect these powerful ideas. Let's talk about undivided loyalty.
Right. This feels like where it all comes together.
The idea that you really cannot serve two masters.
It's a core, unequivocal message we find, dual allegiance. It just doesn't work. It inevitably divides your drive, your energy, your focus, maybe even your soul.
And Jesus' teaching in Matthew 6.24 is so direct.
Couldn't be clearer. You cannot serve both God and money. And the Greek word there for serve, doulouin, it implies being enslaved to something.
Wow, enslaved.
Yeah, so it's about who or what ultimately has mastery over your heart, your priorities. You can't split that ultimate devotion. It's one or the other.
And this isn't just one isolated verse, is it? This idea is woven throughout.
It really is. It's foundational. We already talked about the parable of the rich fool hoarding brought no eternal security. Proverbs 28.20 warns that being eager to get rich leads to trouble.
Right.
1 Timothy 6.10, again, the love of money, some have wandered from the faith. It pulls you away. It's not about having money. It's about where your heart's deepest loyalty lies.
So the moral is pretty stark. Our hearts are designed for devotion, for worship, in a sense.
That seems right.
But splitting that allegiance, it has real consequences.
Absolutely. Serving money, letting it be the master, it tends to lead to anxiety, greed, maybe moral compromises down the line. But serving a higher purpose, serving God, the sources suggest that liberates us, frees us up for generosity, for contentment, for a purpose that lasts.
It reminds me of that Warren Buffett quote. Price is what you pay, value is what you get.
It's ironic, isn't it? It underscores the point. Worldly prices offer fleeting value. Choosing God, choosing eternal value, yields something far greater, and that image Jesus used.
The camel through the eye of a needle.
Yeah, Matthew 19.24. It vividly illustrates how difficult it is to enter the kingdom, to find that true life, if you're clinging tightly to riches, if they possess you.
So what does this dual allegiance actually look like today in our jobs, our spending, our daily choices?
Well, the sources paint some really vivid, relatable pictures. Think about Sarah, the corporate climber.
Okay.
She might start her career with genuine intentions, I want to honor God through my work. Good goal.
Seems reasonable.
But then the pressure mounts. A big deal's on the line. Maybe she starts fudging expense reports just a little, ignores some ethical red flags to close the deal, pushes for a promotion at any cost.
It starts small.
Almost always. It builds from small choices. Checking stocks during a church service, prioritizing late nights at the office over family or spiritual practices, measuring her self-worth primarily by her salary bracket.
And the inaction part.
Not giving generously, always putting it off. I'll give more later when I'm more secure. That later often never comes. The allegiance subtly shifts.
Or Mike, the side hustle guy.
Right. Maybe he starts with ambition, perhaps even misinterpreting some prosperity ideas, thinking God just wants him prosperous, materially.
Okay.
Soon he's grinding 12, 14-hour days, skipping rest, skipping time for reflection or community, all for the next product launch, the next sale, maybe cutting corners on quality or service.
Ambition becomes obsession.
Exactly. Constantly refreshing the sales dashboard, getting consumed by envy of competitors, and the inaction, not seeking accountability, becoming isolated in the grind. Modern twist. Chasing quick riches and things like crypto, maybe getting into debt, filled with regret. The core issue remains divided loyalty.
And it's not just entrepreneurs or executives, right? It applies to everyone.
Absolutely. Consider Lisa the everyday consumer, living paycheck to paycheck, which is stressful in itself.
Yeah.
Maybe she finds escape binge-watching shows that glamorize extreme wealth. Starts racking up credit card debt with little I deserve this purchases, maybe plays the lottery hoping for a big break, exhausts herself with multiple side gigs just to keep up.
How does that build?
It can start with harmless window shopping, which then fuels envy, leading to impulse buys she can't afford, and the inaction, not creating a budget centered on contentment and generosity, but always chasing the next thing she feels she needs.
So wait, what if I genuinely believe wealth is a blessing from God? And what about prosperity theology that suggests God wants us to be rich? Isn't that a valid view?
Wealth can absolutely be a blessing. The Bible is full of faithful, godly people who are wealthy: Abraham, Job, Joseph of Arimathea. The issue isn't having wealth, it's allegiance.
Okay.
If the pursuit, the maintenance, the worry about wealth dominates your thoughts, your time, your energy, it's likely become an idol, a rival allegiance. A good test might be, would losing your wealth devastate you more than feeling distant from God or compromising your values?
That's a tough question.
It is. And regarding prosperity theology, our sources would suggest it often cherry-picks verses, taking them out of their broader context.
How so?
Well, it tends to ignore the strong warnings about greed, the calls to simplicity, and Jesus' own life, which was one of humility and dependence, not material riches. True prosperity, in the biblical sense we've been exploring, seems primarily spiritual peace, contentment, purpose, generosity, not just material accumulation. 1 Timothy 6, Cincinnati again, is pretty clear on the dangers.
Okay, So this deep dive, it offers some really practical, powerful take-home messages for aligning our drive, our loyalty.
It really does.
First, maybe audit your masters. Seriously, look at how you spend your time, your energy, your money. Who or what is really in the driver's seat? Recalibrate if needed.
That's crucial. Second, actively cultivate contentment. Practice gratitude daily. Focus on non-material blessings, relationships, health, purpose.
Third, maybe see wealth as a servant, not the boss.
Exactly. View money as a tool, a resource to be used for good, for generosity, for impact, not something to be served or hoarded.
And maybe seek accountability. Talk about this stuff.
Yes, finding community where you can discuss finances and faith, honestly, biblically, is huge. And finally, always try to remember eternal value.
In decisions, ask.
Is this storing up treasure in heaven or just temporary stuff on earth? Prioritize relationships, service, faith over just getting more.
So, wrapping this all up.
Yeah, let's summarize. This deep dive, it's really shown us that the relentless pursuit of wealth, well, it can be an insatiable trap, a cycle of never having enough.
But then there's this paradox.
This incredible paradox. That extreme generosity, even giving sacrificially from a place of scarcity, can somehow lead to profound spiritual richness. It turns our logic upside down.
And ultimately, it boils down to loyalty.
Undivided loyalty. Where does your heart truly lie? You can't serve two masters.
We've looked at how this ancient wisdom, but also modern experiences, they clearly show the dangers of letting money master us.
And the incredible freedom, the real abundance, that's found not in chasing more, but maybe in trusting a higher purpose. Breaking free from that cycle.
Our sources really challenge you, challenge us all, to examine our priorities. Is your life really oriented towards just accumulating temporary things, things that fade?
Or are you investing in what truly lasts, in treasures that endure beyond this life?
That life that is truly life, as 1 Timothy puts it. It's not found in getting more, is it?
It seems not. It's found perhaps in giving more, maybe especially from less, or in using whatever we do have as a servant to a greater purpose, not letting it become a tyrant that dictates our choices and steals our peace.
So this deep dive leaves you with a really provocative thought to mull over.
What might fundamentally change in your life? Your decisions, your relationships, your sense of peace? If you genuinely embrace the idea that true, lasting security comes not from what you possess, not from what you cling to.
But from what you generously release and trust.
Exactly. What if?
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope it's giving you some maybe unexpected insights and some practical tools to navigate these powerful currents of wealth and well-being in your own life.